Chapter 95. The Enemy. The black flames slowly receded, revealing the original skin, and Chao Yuan pulled the forbidden roll on his neck with both hands. The blood in his eyes gradually disappeared, and he began to cough violently. Lin's 7 knights loosened the tape, finally relieved. Chao Yuan in the state of madness is really strong, outrageous. If not for the 7 knights of the forest, there are 2 forbidden things in hand, coupled with his divine power on the Black King to destroy the restraint effect. This may not be able to win so easily. Bare-chested Chao Yuan lying on the ground, gasping for breath, his eyes fell on Lin Qia's body. The corners of his mouth appeared a smile. It was you. What? There are not many people in this world who can stop the Black King. Did you now? So can Captain Mask, if I'm not mistaken. No, you can wash my sins away. What are you talking about? Lin's 7 knights frowned slightly. It seems unable to understand Cao Yan's meaning. Chao Yuan just shook his head, climbed up from the ground, did not say much. Next to the Han instructor came over, carefully observed Lin's 7 knights for a long time. Did not get hurt? Not really. Han instructor stopped on Lin's 7 knights' thumbs up. Just that move beautiful. Lin Qia smiled. Han instructor's hand Chao Yuan help up. Chao Yuan is open to say something. Han instructors then shake his head to stop him. You don't have to say anything. The responsibility is all on me. I forced you to pull the knife, not your business. This want to apologize. Chao Yuan's C words were completely blocked. Helpless sigh, hands clasped to the chest, slightly bow. Amit Babuda. Before long, a heavily armed instructor rushed over, seeing the devastated showground, frowning slightly. Han instructor walked forward, simply explained the situation with a few instructors, and they put down their hearts. Sergeant Hong, I think. I'm still not cut out for teaching. Han instructors pulled Hong instructors to one side, sighed a long sigh, quiet opening. It's your first day on the job and you're quitting? Instructor Hong frowned. I found out that teaching students and going into battle to kill yourself are 2 very different things. When I go out on a mission, I can fight the enemy alone. No matter what kind of danger, I will not frown. But I've only been teaching here for a few minutes. I was so screwed up I almost had a teaching accident. Hong instructor looked at Han instructor, depressed expression, could not help but laugh out. I do think that you are exceptionally talented in teaching this matter. You have smoked 3 people. One is the little master of the 100 family, one is the Seraphim agent, and one is the ultra-high risk. That's not out of a handful of people, 239 recruits, and you got 3 of the worst rolls in a row, and that's a hell of a luck. Sergeant Hong, you have to stop laughing at me. Instructor Han touched his nose with some embarrassment. To be honest, when it comes to melee combat, there may be some of our instructors who are stronger than you, but they are only prominent in one aspect, not as versatile as you, proficient in all kinds of martial arts, swords and halberds. At the present stage of this group of small rookies, what is needed is not a certain melee expertise, but to find the most suitable fighting style from all the weapons first, which requires a teacher familiar with all martial arts guidance. We cannot teach the whole backtrain night watchman. It is estimated that only Yu Hanli has this ability. But there are only a few of these recruits who are a headache, and actually having the opportunity to witness the growth of this group of demons is also a blessing for you and me, isn't it? Instructor Hong's eyes fell in the distance, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Don't you wonder what it's going to be like when these hordes walk out of this training camp? Han instructor, slightly startled, subconsciously turned his head to look at the recruits. As if the mind emerged, that left hand wrapped belt, right hand holding a knife of the young figure. After a moment's silence, he nodded. Okay, I'll try again. Instructor Hong smiled, reached out and patted Instructor Han on the shoulder twice. Go ahead. Those rookies are waiting for you to train. Instructor Han nodded, took a deep breath and strode to the training ground. See Han instructor back. The original restless recruits shut their mouth. The whole training ground quiet down. Han instructor's eyes swept over the people from the next shelf and took down a wooden knife, went to the missing half of the martial arts stage, continued to explain. The knife method we just said, although fast and rapid but still insufficient in strength. The whole morning is the melee training time. After the instructor, Han briefly talked about a few types of knife, and then continued to talk about the 2-handed knife, sword, shooting, and even some of the use of dark weapons. Because it is the first time to contact cold weapons training. Basically, to Han instructor explained, Han instructor is also good. Let them all sit down and listen, which let the freshmen who have been tortured for a morning finally have time to rest. Wait until the mouth of Han instructor is dry. It is time for lunch. When the freshmen came to the canteen full of expectations and found that lunch was still white steamed bread with raw meat, their mentality exploded directly and some people vomited directly. There are also sharp-eyed people who find that in addition to white steamed bread and raw meat, there is a stack of small pickles. Again the desperate freshman rejoiced. Brother Seven Knights, do you think that old man's son in the cafeteria has discovered his conscience? They even have pickles. Bailey Pang Pang moved to put salted vegetables into the white bread. Directly bite a big mouth. I don't know. I just know it's a small dish, not enough for a few bites. Lin Chia carefully counted the number of pickles and said with a black face. Just then, a figure quietly moved to their table. Chow Yuan silently handed his pickles to Lin Seven Knights, eating raw meat side of the opening. I give you. Lin Seven Knights alone. Bailey Fat is staring big eyes. I said, brother, this is salted vegetables. You're not eating? Lin Seven Knights to eat. I gave him to eat. Bailey Pang Pang heard this sentence, his mouth opened wide. This. Do you know what this is called? What? Lick the dog. I'd love to. Lin Chia was silent for a moment and slowly opened his mouth. If you are for the morning, in fact, you don't have to do this. I am not hurt. No, Lin Chia. Chow Yuan shook his head, seriously looking at Lin Chia's eyes. I just trying to lick you. Lin Chia. Bailey Fat tiger body a shock. Looking at Xiaoyun's eyes instantly changed. Fucking hell. This is a fierce enemy. Chapter 96. Extreme Training. Is this man seriously ill? Lin Seven Knights looked to Chow Yuan's strange eyes up. He has always been not afraid to speculate with the greatest malice to others, for no reason, suddenly ran up to gallantry. It is difficult to let him not think. I don't understand. Lin Chia shook his head. Because I can contain you in a mad state? You can also cleanse me of my sins and be a complete success. Chow Yuan put his hands together and gently chanted Buddha's name. Lin Chia frowned. What are you talking about? Chow Yuan's face darkened, his eyes flashed a touch of grief, and after a moment of silence he slowly opened his mouth. I carry on my body the lives of 333 innocent people who have died in a terrible way. Only you can take away this sin for me and save me from the burning fire of karma. You killed 333 people? Bailey Pong Pong's eyes widened. You used to... a bandit. No. What did you do? Chow Yuan eyes view nose view heart head down silent. Lin Chia slowly opened his mouth. I'm sorry, I don't have the ability to help people get rid of sin. You should go to the monk. I did. Chow Yuan looked into Lin Chia's eyes. I chanted sutras and chanted Buddha in Juhua Mountain, and the blood light on my body has not receded at all for 7 years. Master Jinchan said, there is only one person who can help me make my sins go away and make my virtues complete. Did he give me his ID number? Lin Seven Knights strange opening. No, but it doesn't make any difference. Chow Yuan calmly said, double withstanding body 8 gods to 1 into the night for 10 years cross my world. Isn't it just the 3 characters of Lin Chia? Lin Chia heard the first 2 sentences have no reaction, but heard the sentence into the night for 10 years crossing my world, the expression gradually serious up. For 10 years at night, does it mean that he was blind for 10 years, or does it mean that he entered the night's watch for 10 years as agreed with Chow Kongqing? If it is the former, it can only mean that Chow Yuan carefully investigated him, but if it is the latter, when he took the oath there was no one around. How did the Jinchan master know that? Again, I don't save people from evil. Lin Chia shook his head. Maybe not now, but I'm sure the future you will. You trust me so much? I believe in Master Jin Sakata. Lin Chia looked at Chow Yuan for a long time and sighed helplessly. Let it go, but I will not make any guarantee. Chow Yuan corners of the mouth slightly upward, seems to be reminded of what? The pickles passed to the front of Lin Seven Knights. Eat pickles. Lin Seven Knights tangled for a moment or reach out to grab a little stuffed into the white bread, a big bite. Chow Yuan showed a satisfied smile. This smile looks more and more like licking a dog. 100 fat mutter, shameless to Chow Yuan's side hand also want to catch some pickles. Chow Yuan's face changed, suddenly blocked the pickles dish with his hand. Roll. Let me have a bite. Seven Knights. I can't. So mean. Bailey Pang Pang left his mouth. These belong to Lin Chia. Chow Yuan expressionless opening. Bailey Pang Pang grievance to Lin Chia in front of the body. 7 Knights, you say I Bailey Pang Pang, do not deserve to eat your pickles. Not worthy. My Rolex. Oh, I can eat less. See Lin 7 Knights let go Chow Yuan in 100 fat smile, can only be wrong to loosen his hand, a person silently gnawn the raw meat. 100 fat holding steamed bread in one hand, holding salted vegetables in the other hand, arrogantly standing in front of Chow Yuan, gnawing side he giggle like a very powerful empress in the hadron. Attention everyone. When everyone was concentrating on eating, Instructor Hong walked in from the cafeteria door with 2 instructors, and the loud voice echoed throughout the cafeteria. All of them put down the steamed bread in their hands at the same time. Only Bailey Fat fiercely stuffed a steamed bread into his mouth, and stood upright with a bulging cheek. Instructor Hong's sharp eyes swept across the room and slowly opened his mouth. This afternoon your first extreme workout. After dinner, everyone gather at the back of the canteen. Do you understand me? Got it. The recruits answered. Instructor Hong nodded. Give you a word of advice, the afternoon extreme training will be very hard. You'd better finish the food on the table. After that, the 3 instructors turned and left, and the noise in the cafeteria became louder again. Extreme training? What the hell? Bailey Fat sighed chewing steamed bread, sighed doubt open. I don't know. Chow Yuan shook his head. Finish everything on the table first. Lin Chia looked at the direction of the instructors leaving and sighed. This afternoon, it is estimated that it is really purgatory. Wait until Lin 7 Knights 3 people finish their meal. They went straight to the back of the canteen, where there have been several black buses stopped. I do not know where to go. Out of camp. Bailey Pong's eyes brightened and his face looked forward to something. Going out of camp is not necessarily a good thing. Lin Chi Knight frowned slightly. Why? This shows that the facilities in the training camp are no longer able to meet the extreme conditions. Zheng Zhong of Special Forces suddenly appeared behind the 3 people, and suddenly opened his mouth. Have you trained before? I didn't know the Night's Watch training was different from the army, but the afternoon training will not be as easy as the morning, so save your energy. Zheng Zhong walked by Lin Chia. The door of the black bus opened slowly, he jumped gently and disappeared in the line of sight. Lin 7 Knights thought for a moment, still cannot guess what this extreme training is, simply no longer think. With Zheng Zhong on the car, 100 Fat and Chow Yuan also followed. When everyone was there, the car started slowly and the 5 black buses drove out of the camp gates and sped off into the wilderness. After about half an hour the car stopped. Lin Chia is resting open his eyes, look out of the window, the whole person slightly stunned. Jinan Mountain? Lin Chia is a native of Tsongnan, and naturally can recognize the lush mountains in front of him. Tsongnan City is located in the southeastern plain of the Great Summer. There is no mountain name. The Jinan Mountain height is only about 4 kilometers. It is not a mountain, but it is located around a series of small peaks, wrapped in the center, connected into a mountain. Say big is not small, say small is not small. Moreover, the Jinan Mountain has not been large-scale development, belongs to the wild mountains on the border of Tsongnan City. Only the top of the Jinan Mountain set up a small ropeway for visitors. Even if so, a year cannot come many tourists. Belongs to the unpopular, cannot be unpopular scenic spots. After the vehicle stopped, Instructor Hong stood up and looked back at the recruits, with a cruel smile on his lips. All of them. Get off. Chapter 97 Into the Mountain. Soon the new recruits gathered at the foot of the Jinan Mountain. Instructor Hong stood in front of them with his hands behind his back, scanned a circle and slowly said, "Next we're going to do extreme training. You see these mountains behind you? In a moment I will equip each of you with a 35-kilogram load, and all you have to do is cross this mountain range before dawn tomorrow. Report." Xing Zhong shouted. Just a normal road trip? It's not that simple. Instructor Hong smiled and waved, and the last bus suddenly flew out of a dense swarm of drones. Each drone installed a miniature gun hole below. The weights on your body have their own positioning function, and as soon as the training begins, these drones will enter the mountains and chase you all. And if they are hit by the paint guns on them, it means failure. And failure there will be very cruel, very cruel. What a cruel punishment. Hong instructor's mouth uncontrollable upward, seems to think of something interesting, 3 times in a row emphasized the word cruel. Listen to the recruit's scalp tingling. There are a few rules I want to emphasize. Instructor Hong held up 3 fingers. First, the weight on your body can be exchanged, such as one of you cannot run, you can give some of the weight to others. You can also take back at any time, But it must be noted that you cannot privately discard the weight, otherwise once found direct failure. Second, you can't attack in any way, even touch the drone. You can't carry anything on your body to hinder the shooting of the paint gun. You can't hide in a dead corner of the terrain motionless. You can only do one thing in the face of the drone. That is escape. Third, you can stick together, but you must not attack each other or forcibly interfere in the actions of others. After finishing these 3 points, Instructor Hong shouted, "Do you understand? You got it. All of you take the load and go up the mountain." After the order was given, the recruits began to take turns to shoulder the weight, and then each was issued a tactical knife. This knife is for you to overcome the terrain, not for you to kill each other. Remember. Hair knife, Han Li instructor seriously told Wei. When sent to Chaoyuan, Han Li instructor silently put down the knife in his hand, backhand from behind. Boom. Drill sergeant, this Chaoyuan people are stupid. You can't use knives, and now that you can't find another weapon, we'll make do with this. Instructor Han Li patted him on the shoulder. Chaoyuan. Other people can cut weeds with a knife, I use this spoon. What can you do? Dig yourself a hole. Yeah, that fat guy over there. One side of the Hong instructor seems to think of what, called the ready to enter the mountain 100 fat. Take off the free space and those necklaces and bracelets and beads that you are wearing and keep them with me. Instructor Hong held out his hand. 100 fat tiger body shock, hands chest, instructor. These things are very valuable. I'm not taking yours. Hold on, if you're going in there throwing stuff around, you're not training. So be it. 100 fat sad face from the pocket out of another small white pocket, handed over to the Hong instructor hands, and the body of those scattered pendants are also handed over. Yeah, go ahead. Hong instructor solemnly put these things in place, against the 100 fat swing. When all the recruits entered the mountain, Instructor Hong leisurely sat into the tactical tent that had just been built and yawned. Instructor Hong, it's just a road trip. Does it have to be so complicated? Han Li instructor, a face of confusion, went to sit beside him. Hey, this isn't just weight roading. Instructor Hong smiled. Do you really think they can run out of this mountain? Han Li instructor alone seems not to understand his meaning. We've sealed off the entire mountain range with lockdown, and within that area, the landscape has been completely altered. Hong instructor looked at the direction of the recruits leaving, showing a belly black smile. The whole mountain range has become an impossible maze. No matter how they run, they cannot run out. Therefore, they can only be hunted by drones in this complex maze, until everyone's physical strength has been squeezed dry. This effect is much better than the ordinary weight-bearing cross-country. Instructor Han Li mused for a moment. Do you want to create a desperate environment, but allow them to exchange weights with each other, test their mentality at the same time, drain their physical strength, and then cultivate trust between each other? It is true that Han instructors look at the problem as thorough. Instructor Hong gave a thumbs up. But can a drone and a paint gun really put that much pressure on them? Han Li instructor could not help asking. A mysterious smile appears on Instructor Hong's face, and then you will know the punishment for failure. It's a lot scarier than you think. Jinan Mountain. Lin 7 Knights and Chaoyuan carrying heavy loads, agile through the woods. Jinan Mountain tree's age is very long, high and dense. Mottled sunlight fell on the ground as if in the primitive jungle. You guys wait for me. Bailey Pang is very difficult to move forward because of his round shape, and the deep mountains and forests are full of plants. Why is this thing so heavy? Why don't you two help me out a little? Bailey Fat raised his head, looking forward to the two people in front of him. Lin 7 Knights decisively refused. Get lost. Chaoyuan coldly responded and then turned to Lin 7 Knights, eyes open. 7 Knights, or I help you back a little? No need. Bailey Pang. Buzz. Voice just fell. The sound of intensive drone flight came from behind them. Lin 7 Knights' face slightly changed. The drone's in. We need to speed up or we're gonna be overtaken. Chaoyuan turned to look around. The recruits who entered Jinan Mountain in the same direction began to disperse. After all, gathered together, the probability of being shot by drones is greater. Phew. Why don't you guys go ahead? This thing's too heavy and I don't think I can outrun a drone. Bailey Pang, feeling the hum coming closer to him, said with a sad face. You're not afraid to get shot and take the punishment? Punishment is punishment. The punishment, I guess, wasn't too scary, was it? Bailey Pang said with some uncertainty. Chapter 98. The Scene of the Mass Death. Flop. As soon as Billapangpang spoke, a drone emerged from the trees behind him and shot a recruit behind him. The recruit was stunned, ran 2 steps, only felt a whirl, legs a soft fall in place. Next thing you know, 2 instructors burst out of the jungle behind them, laughing and dragging the recruit into the woods. Bailey Fat saw this scene, got a sound, quickly ran a few steps. What the hell? Isn't it a paint gun? Why do you faint when you hit someone? And just those 2 instructors, what the hell? Look at their expressions. I feel that Brother Chastity cannot protect. Ah, hello. 100 Fat ran to 2 people behind, cannot help but ridicule. Chow Yuan was silent for a moment. Is the punishment for failure, that is, chastity? I don't think so. Lin 7 Knights of the corners of the mouth smoked. We inside, but there are many female soldiers. Right. So what are they doing in the woods now? Bailey Pang looked back at the forest, and there was a big doubt in his small eyes. 2 instructors dragged the stunned recruits directly onto the stretcher next to them, all the way back to the starting point at the foot of the mountain. This is the first one from extreme training this year, right? Hey, interesting. An instructor's eyes lit up with excitement as he saw the new recruit being carried down. Put the ring of truth on him, then turn on the microphone and connect the Bluetooth speakers and all the recruits' weights. Hong instructor orderly command everything. Soon the new recruit was awakened by the instructor, tied to a chair, cannot move. Hey. Can you hear me? The voice of the instructor suddenly came out from behind all the recruits. They were startled. Lin 7 Knights 3 people stopped at the same time. There's a stereo in there? What do they want? Lin 7 Knights surprised to open. Just as the voice stopped, the sound came out again. I can hear you. Good. So let's punish you. Your name is Wang Liang, right? What's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done in your life? When I was 7, I watched my neighbor's big sister take a shower. Meaning? Is it nice? Good looking. She is particularly good. Convex back. Long is also particularly sweet. When I secretly hide in the wall, through the window to look in, can see very clearly. Have you ever been found? One time they found out. She told my mom and I got beat up that night. Oh, do you like the big sister? Yeah, I often dream about her at night and sometimes. Wang Liang's cheeks were red and his facial muscles were straining frantically, but he couldn't control his mouth, and his hands were locked in the chair, unable to move. On the opposite side of him, Hong instructors solemnly asked a variety of social death questions. The other instructors were outside listening to the conversation, holding their mouths tightly, but they could not help but burst out laughing, and then gradually lost patience and began to laugh wildly. All 238 members of Jinnam Mountain, except for the new recruit, stopped walking at the same time. He began to laugh shamelessly. Ha ha ha. Wang Liang, this boy, even this kind of embarrassing thing. Animals. Watching your big sister in the shower. Without me. I'm laughing. This kid brags about how big he is every day. It was only 4 centimeters. Ha 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 ha. As they smiled, their faces changed. An unprecedented chill came over their hearts, and their faces were as ugly as frosted eggplants. Bailey Fat swallowed. His little face was white and he spoke hoarse. It is the punishment for getting hit? It must be some kind of forbidden substance that forces people to tell the truth. That's a tough move. Lin 7 Knights can't help but open his mouth. 3 people briefly looked at each other. Saya ran to the depths of Jinan Mountain. 100 Fat also do not know where the strength, run fast, unexpectedly rushed in the front. He clenched his teeth and his eyes were so full of fighting spirit that he felt like he was going to breathe fire. Is this still punishment? This is the scene of a fucking social death. These unscrupulous instructors, they dare to ask any question. Under the effect of that forbidden thing, even his own size was blurted out. If I were sitting in Wang Liang's position. The result is unimaginable. At this moment, all the new recruits are like playing chicken blood, red eyes forward. At the foot of the mountain, the temporary tactical tent was set up, and Instructor Hong looked at the numerous red dots moving rapidly on the screen and nodded with satisfaction. How was it? Did it work out okay? Han instructors clutching the pain of laughing belly, to him hard upright thumb. You're awesome. Whoosh. A series of missiles flew through the jungle. There was a scream, followed by the sound of heavy objects falling to the ground. Lin Chia frowned, looked to the side of the woods, the next moment lightning backward to avoid the 2 missiles. The drone on the left is circling us, he said in a deep voice. Then we have to go to the right. Chow Yuan looked to the other side, his face a little ugly. Where the terrain is much more rugged will consume more physical strength. I always get the feeling these instructors are doing it on purpose. Puffy gasped, and that's where they're driving us. We have no choice. Chao Yuan calm open. Lin Chia took the lead in rushing into the dense forest covered with rocks and old trees. Running, jumping, ducking, tossing and turning, his hand knife continuously split the twine around the trees, difficult to move forward. Before long, his military uniform was covered with stains and his hands were cut small by sharp branches around him. In the end, he is just a senior student, although after a month of tutoring, but the physical quality is placed there. A series of intense exercise is also rapidly consuming his physical strength. Gradually, his movement slowed down. In contrast, Chao Yuan, the body seems unusually strong even after running for so long, but also some asthma and not too tired. As for Bailey Peng, he has a death expression, although it seems that at any time may faint, but do not know where the strength support him step by step forward. I don't know what the hell this guy's hiding that he's so scared of that punishment. Lin 7 Knights, a knife in front of the blocking vine, was about to cross. The opposite suddenly came a rustling sound and a looming hum. At this time Shin Qingzhu, also a knife, split the nearby obstacles. The face appeared in front of the Lin 7 Knights. For eyes to each other, two people at the same time. Then two waves of drones swarmed around them, one in front of the other. Shit. They cursed in unison. Chapter 99. Follow a regular shift or class. Fuck. Why are you suddenly in front of us? 100 Fat also saw this scene, directly dumbstruck. Now is not the time to dwell on it. Shin Qingzhu shouted, quickly changed the direction to the left side somersault. Unfortunately, Lin 7 Knights also chose the same direction at the same time. The two waves of people who were originally blocked in front of and after broke out towards the left side in unison, followed by a series of missile bursts. Shin Qingzhu, behind the three younger brothers, two played at the same time. After desperate wailing, his eyes turned and fainted on the ground. Lin 7 Knights' hand knife were quick to swing out of the residual shadow. He quickly broke a path in the jungle, and Chao Yuan holding hands and nothing to use the spoon while struggling to catch up. 100 Fat exclaimed, ducking to a tree, avoiding a series of missiles and then rolling and climbing to Lin 7 Knights and others. A few people so run hard over the whole rugged old forest, ran to a spacious open space. A stream flowing from the mountains issued a pleasant ding-dong sound. Lin Chia took a few steps, bent down beside the stream, drank a few mouthfuls from the stream with his hand, and then gave a long sigh of relief on his face. Bailey Peng sat on the ground and collapsed directly. 7 Knights, how close are we to crossing the mountains? It's still early. Lin 7 Knights slowly opened from the beginning. The drone rushed to us from different directions, so the road and have to change the direction of several times. And now just from the starting point forward 4 or 5 kilometers of straight distance. Is the drill sergeant playing us? And being chased by drones and not letting them fight back. Shin Qingzhu stood up and kicked the stone under his feet into the stream, and his face was unhappy. We'll never get through the mountains at this rate. Chao Yuan frowned. In fact, from the beginning I thought this place was weird. Lin 7 Knights hesitate for a moment or open. This is strange. Didn't you notice? We ran for so long, no matter which way we went, the position of the sun in the sky didn't change. Lin Chia pointed to the sun overhead, and the mountain road that my eyes saw was often changing. They all looked up at the same time and their faces fell. What's going on? I think the instructors covered the area with something forbidden, and they never wanted us to get out in the first place. So what are they trying to do? Here, drain us completely. Billa Peng's face turned white, which means we're all doomed to that punishment. Not really. Chao Yuan suddenly opened his mouth. Those who directly exhausted themselves and fainted, and did not appear in the punishment. Bailey Peng sat on the ground and sighed. The drones seemed to know they were nearing their limit and didn't go straight after them, which gave them a rare respite. They had been running for so long, their physical strength was almost exhausted, and they all sat on the ground one by one, and the empty space beside the stream suddenly fell into a quiet. Only the soul torture from the weight continues to reverberate in the mountains and canyons, making them laugh from time to time. Hey, that kid over there with the spoon. Shin Qingzhu's eyes fell on Chao Yuan's body. You are so strong. Last night in the battle mask, why not at first? I will not draw my sword unless it is necessary. This is the oath I made before the Buddha. Chao Yuan light answer. And didn't you do it anyway? That's because there comes a time when you have to. Chao Yuan peripheral look at the I-Forest 7 Knights. Shin Qingzhu frowns. What does it mean? He tells you to do it, you do it, I tell you to do it and you just sit there? Do you despise me? Yeah, it is. Oh fuck. Shin Qingzhu eyes coagulate. People who can't control their own emotions will always be weak. Chao Yuan played with the spoon in his hand and said calmly. Shin Qingzhu dead glared Chao Yuan, double fists clenched, seems to want to rush up to beat Chao Yuan a meal. After a while he still loosened his hands. He stood up, gave him a cold look. Is strong or weak, we'll see. With that he turned and walked in the other direction. Then the only other recruit who was behind him got up quickly and followed. Damn it, those two were eliminated. What are you doing with them? Shin Qingzhu is angry. See, this person followed up again, turned his head to swear. Is you are my brother Shin? A black recruit smiled. If you had not helped my mother to pay off the debt, I would still be begging in the street. Not to mention being the Night's Watch. Have you got it wrong? I almost killed you and the ghost of that month yesterday with Chi Min, and you still took me as brother Shin? You were trying to force him out. And besides, if you really don't care about us, why do you have to throw us in the dorm to use the air explosion? Remember that. Don't bother me. Shin Qingzhu turned around and walked toward the distance with great strides, and the follower behind him followed up with half a step. Brother Shin, are you heavy? Do you want me to help you carry some weight? Get out. I'm carrying my own weight. Wait for Shin Qingzhu two people to walk away. Bailey Fat shrugged his shoulders. Strange, Shin Qingzhu, this guy has a bad temper and conceited and likes to curse. Is it true that anyone would actually follow him? The boy called Deng Wei when he was a child. His father ran away with others. His mother loved gambling and owed a but debt outside, and then the creditor called someone with a knife to the door. He had no way but to borrow money everywhere. Later just met Shin Qingzhu. This guy also do not know what wind, sold several fields in his hometown, lent Deng Wei, and then the two people woke up together to the forbidden market, was seen by the night watchman and came here. Chao Yuan simply said the next thing after. You know that well. That Deng Wei is my roommate. Chao Yuan shrugged his shoulders. There are two other followers, is a pair of twin brothers, one called Li Jiao, one called Li Liang, also do not know why, as determined to follow Shin Qingzhu. And a man with a story. You can't tell. Bailey Pang raised his brow. Just then the hum of the drone sounded again from the forest, and Lin Chia's face changed slightly and he stood up from the ground. Here we go again. Chapter 100, Brother Shin. Buzz buzz. Several drones drilled out of the forest on the right. Shin Qingzhu's face changed. Run. With that he turned and stepped on the rock outcropping of the stream and ran quickly in the opposite direction. Deng Wei carried the weight behind him, gnawed his teeth and followed Shin Qingzhu's footsteps, stepping on it step by step. At this moment the drone behind him has flown to the distance. The loaded muzzle is aimed at the two people and several missiles are fired in succession. Deng Wei's eyes were attracted by the missile and he was immediately panicked. He bent down to avoid the missile in a hurry. The stone under his feet suddenly slipped and he fell directly into the stream. Flop. Shin Qingzhu suddenly looked back, his face suddenly changed, hesitated for a moment, or clenched his teeth to hold Deng Wei's shoulder, and supported him to stand up. Damn it, I told you not to follow me, you're gonna get me in trouble. Shin Qingzhu swore on Deng Wei's shoulder, foot fast pace. And Deng Wei's right foot seems to be injured, action is very reluctant. Da-da-da. Two drones were still close behind them and as if on purpose they fired two shots from time to time but none of them fired. Shin Qingzhu frowned, his eyes fell on the bushes not far ahead, and the pace at the foot of the foot was a few minutes faster, almost carrying Deng Wei to run forward. In the two drones can be called the human body stroke method, Shin Qingzhu with Deng Wei into the bush. And the drone circled 2 circles outside the bush and did not follow in. Two people with bent waist, difficult shuttle in the bush. Finally Shin Qingzhu exhausted his strength and took Deng Wei on his shoulder and stumbled to the ground. Deng Wei covered his right ankle and his face twisted violently due to pain. How's the foot? Shin Qingzhu was sweating profusely and reached out to touch Deng Wei's ankle. The absence of I think it's twisted. Shin Qingzhu felt a large abscess on his ankle and his face suddenly sank. You can't run anymore. Deng Wei gasped. He looked at Shin Qingzhu. Hey smile. What the fuck are you laughing at? Brother Shin, you came back to save me. Shut up. I just happened to reach you. Shin brother, you go put the weight to me. Anyway I cannot go, I am here to wait for the instructor to eliminate me. I carry my own weight. Brother Shin, you are the man to do great things. As a strong man he should survive to the end. Deng Wei reached out his hand and grabbed Shin Qingzhu's load. Anyway I will be eliminated, can help you share the load but also play the residual heat. Shin Qingzhu looked at Deng Wei's dark smile and fell into silence. You give it to me. Don't grab it. Shin Qingzhu grabbed the weight, thought about it, and said, in this way I give you 25 pounds of weight and I leave 10 pounds. That's fine. Whatever you say. Shin Qingzhu unloaded 25 pounds of weight, put them on Deng Wei's body, only feel a light body, the whole person is relaxed a lot. And you should go. The drone will be here soon. Well, watch your back then. Shin Qingzhu, carrying 10 pounds of weight, slowly stood up, finally looked at Deng Wei, who was paralyzed on the ground, turned and went into the bush. With the knife of his hand, he split a path barely enough for a person to pass through, and it was difficult to shuttle it, so large forest, only he was alone, in addition to the rustling of the branches, the surrounding silence. Shin Qingzhu walked on for a long time, looked up at the sky and found that the position of the sun was still unchanged, and his brow wrinkled again. This group of instructors. Is it really a trick? Stuck us in here like lab rats just to make fun of us? Cursing, he gradually stopped walking. He looked back in Deng Wei's direction with a slight hesitation on his brow, but quickly shook his head. No way. Shin Qingzhu, you are a strong person. The strong must be ruthless. You have to stay until the end, you have to show the people who look down on you how strong you are. He clenched his fists, took a deep breath and moved on. Then a familiar voice came from the heavy stereo. Your name is Li Liang, isn't it? Tell me about your crush. I don't have anyone I like. Yo, or a high cold and heartless boy that admirer? There must be, right? I do. Who said that about me? I'm Brother Shin. Shin Qingchu? The instructor's voice seemed very surprised. What? In the first year of high school, my brother Li Jiao was cheated and got into trouble with a group of local punks. Every day after school we would be blocked at the school gate and blackmailed by them. Later, Shin brother, who was a year older than us, couldn't stand it and helped us. A person fought with more than a dozen gangsters and put 4 gangsters into the hospital. Because of this thing he was expelled from the school, failed to take the college entrance examination and could only go home to farm. Since then my brother and I have vowed to follow Brother Shin. Although he is particularly bad temper, always loved to scold us, but get along for a long time we'll find. He's actually the gentlest person in the world. Shin Qingzhu's movement is stuck in mid-air, like a sculpture frozen in the bushes. After a moment he muttered to himself. What the fuck is this guy talking about? When you're the one getting punished, how come I'm the one getting killed? He slowly turned his head, looked in the direction of time and gradually clenched the knife in his hand. The bush. Deng Wei, who is closing his eyes to rest, raised his mouth slightly. This guy Li Liang said very thorough, just do not know what Shin brother heard will be the expression. Hum. After the sound of drones came, Deng Wei opened his eyes, looked at the drones gradually falling from the high altitude and smiled. Come on, knock me out. Several drones turned their heads, their loaded muzzles turned and aimed at Mr. Deng, who was lying on the ground. Deng Wei took a deep breath and murmured, don't ask me strange questions for a while, otherwise they will hear me and laugh at me. He slowly closed his eyes. Da-da-da. After the sound of missiles, Deng Wei felt for a long time but still did not feel beaten. He opened his eyes and saw Shin Qingzhu holding a knife in one hand and carrying a weight across his chest in one hand, blocking all the missiles for Deng Wei. Deng Wei froze for a moment. Brother Shin, the rules say you can't use a bag to stop a bullet. Shin Qingzhu raised his brow, threw the weight of his hand aside and raised his mouth slightly. The rules. I am green bamboo. When have you ever followed the rules? After saying that he suddenly jumped up, the knife of his hand was shot quickly, and under Deng Wei's shocked expression he directly inserted a drone. The rules say you can't attack drones. I'm gonna hit them. Shin Qingzhu landed, looking at the falling drone, cold hum. He turned around, looked at Deng Wei, who was paralyzed on the ground, and opened his mouth arrogantly. Loser, your brother Shin is here to save you. Only listen to a gunshot. A missile accurately shot Shin Qingzhu's back. He snorted, 2 eyes rolled. Simply passed out. Chapter 101. The Heretics. Yo, if it isn't the prickly head Shin Qing bamboo? You're out too? Who gave you the nerve to blow up a drone? Sorry, I'm bloated. In that case, double your punishment time and I'll see where to start. By the way, did you hear what Li Liang said just now? I heard you. Is he telling the truth? So, why do you want to package yourself as ruthless, lawless, arrogant? Because people are bullying things. Weak people can only be bullied forever. Although I am curious about your past story, but considering the special situation I will not ask. Tell me why you want to be strong. I don't want people to look down on me. Because of that. Pretending to be your own heart, pricking on the outside and being soft on the inside and still caring so much about what others think. Are you a Virgo? Well, let's talk about your relationship experience. How many love letters have you written so far? 114 copies. So much? Tell me more about it. When I was 4, I had a crush on my big sister next door and Lin 7 night 3 people running in the mountains while listening to Shin Qingzhu public execution. And this Draco is down for good. Bailey fat puffy breathing heavily, but also from time to laugh too. Lin Chia looked at the fading sky and slowly opened his mouth. It has been nearly 5 hours since we entered Jinan Mountain, and more than half of the people have been eliminated. Chao Yuan turned his head to look at Bailey fat and said with some surprise, "You didn't just come in when you couldn't? How did you make it this far? Even if I ran out, I wouldn't want to take that punishment." Bailey Pang seemed to think of something and his face went white. "Now that you say that, it makes me even more curious about your secret." After more and more recruits were dragged down the mountain, the number of drones on the mountain significantly increased. At first only 2 or 3 drones chasing them, now there are more than a dozen. Fortunately, the instructors had a conscience and did not let the drones surround them from all sides, giving them a gap to break out of every time, giving them a chance to escape. The drone chases them for a while, straining them, then disappearing for a while, giving them a short time to recover, and the cycle repeats, sending them over and over the edge. Now Lin Chia finally understood why this is called extreme training. The deeper the Jinan Mountain, the slower the speed of the 3 people. The fat has been staggering with the Lin 7 knights behind the 2 people, the more pale. You can't just sit down and rest. Lin Chia keenly noticed the condition of Bailey Pang and said with a frown. No way. I'm gonna run. Bailey fat eyes lax, body clothes have been soaked by sweat. He stepped forward, eyes full of persistence. Why haven't I passed out yet? Chao Yuan, meditate for a moment or you hit the tree. I'm afraid of pain. Bailey Pang waved his hand. You run first, I think I am really dying. I'll faint later. You don't have to save me. We didn't mean to save you. Bailey Pang expression a smoke, cough twice, prick the heart. Bailey Pang touched his chest and before the words fell, his eyes rolled over and fainted. Chao Yuan came forward to look at it, nodded to Lin 7 knights, nothing, just tired, fainted. Well, let's go. Lin 7 knights turned around and continued to move toward the forest. To tell the truth, Lin 7 knights himself is almost to the limit, 5 hours of continuous weight-bearing cross-country, although the rest is many times, but his body is not so strong after all, and now his eyes have begun to risk gold stars. Why don't you take a break? Chao Yuan looked to Lin 7 knights. Lin Chia took a deep breath, shook his head. I can still insist. Why do you spell it that way? Only by breaking the limit can we become strong. Lin 7 knights calm opening and only become strong, can live, only alive, can go back later. Going back? Back to where? Lin Chia shook his head and did not answer. If you just want me to clean up your sins in the future, you don't have to kiss my ass. Lin 7 knights suddenly opened his mouth. If it's a deal, you just have to pay enough. A deal? So that's how you see it. Or what? Do you have no friends? I've been a heretic since I was a child. Incidentally, so do I. Chao Yuan spoke softly, but that's why we could be friends, isn't it? I cut off the head of the last one who tried to be my friend, and the last one I put in the monster's mouth, and now the graveyard grass should be 1/2 meter tall. Lin Chia said without expression. Being your friend is so risky? Right. You know, we're pretty much the same. Chao Yuan shrugged his shoulders. I not only personally cut a dozen of my good friends playing with me, but also killed the whole village, and after that day the village where I grew up did not even have a dog left. Don't compare yourself to me. It looks like I'm not even close to you. You are special, even despite Jinchan's prophecy, you are still special. Chao Yuan looked into the eyes of Lin Chia. In fact, if you can, I still hope that our 2 heretics can become friends. Lin 7 knights silence for a moment, pointed to the body lying behind the 100 fat, that he was him. Chao Yuan smiled. Don't you think? Is he in some sense a heretic? Yeah, he's incredibly stupid and incredibly rich. Incisive. Soon after, the 2 instructors carried a stretcher to the unconscious Bailey Pong's side and spoke with some surprise. The fat kid made it this far and he passed out on his own. Another instructor shook his head somewhat regrettably. Unfortunately, I thought I could hear some of the Bailey family's divination. I heard that these family sons' private lives are messy. Hey, forget it. Just bring it down. Who? It's heavy. Two people will 100 fat on the stretcher. Chichuzi ran down the mountain. On the stretcher, Bailey, who was lying like a dead pig, grunted twice, opened his eyes with little boobs and his mouth showed a smile. Down the hill. It's been 7 hours. How many people are left? Instructor Hong walked to the tactical tent and asked. Staring at the screen, several instructors counted and replied. There are 10 more, most of them are training families or special forces, the rest. This Lin 7 Knights and Chao Yuan actually still on the field, some unexpected They're good at fighting but they're not good at physical, and if I'm not mistaken they're reaching their limits. Instructor Hong looked up at the dark Jinnam mountain and said slowly. Chapter 102. One man. Enter Jinnan Mountain hours. Carrying the load of Lin 7 Knights and Chao Yuan over do not know how many peaks, the night sky more and more intense. The mountains in front of the eyes have been completely plunged into darkness. In this environment with branches and pits everywhere, it is almost impossible to walk without a flashlight, and no one knows whether the next step will be a flat earth or a pit full of thorns. At this time the vast Jinnan mountain is silent. How many are left? All the instructors sat together. Hong instructors looked at the time and asked. There are 3 left. Special Forces Jing Zhong, Lin Chia and Chao Yuan. How the hell did those 2 boys hold out so long? That's not scientific. There are instructors mumbling. Xiaoyun's body has been tempered by the Black King. It is not surprising that it can persist, but Lin 7 Knights. How did he do it? Instructor Hong touched his chin and his eyes were full of confusion. Now there are only 2. Always staring at the screen of the instructor opened just now, Jing Zhong slipped down the mountain in the dark, knocked unconscious in the past. The medical team has passed. We're at this point, so why don't we just finish this extreme workout? Yeah, it's too late to see anything in the mountains and there might be an accident if it goes on like this. Instructor Hong was silent for a moment, not in a hurry, and all the drones were transferred to the 2 little guys, and the medical soldiers were immediately behind them ready to rescue. I'd like to see. What are the limits of these 2 guys? The dark jungle. Lin Chia eyes twinkling, the knife of the hand accurately split the thorns in front of the eyes, bending through the past. Chao Yuan followed closely behind him, not falling half a step. It's so dark you can still see? Chao Yuan, holding a small spoon, could not help but ask. I can. Lin 7 Knights calm opening. Then slow down. I can't see it all. I'm already walking slowly. No, you said you were at your limit an hour and a half ago and now you're so energetic? Chao Yuan teasing, are you a late sleeper? Sort of. Lin Chia did not survive very early, but then the sky became darker and darker. His physical strength began to recover at an amazing speed. As long as the rest in place for a while, the spirit is better than when he just entered Jinnan Mountain. He didn't want to use his power to cheat, but this passive ability can't be turned off. He also wanted to train well and break through the limits of his body. But whenever he felt that he was approaching the limit, his strength inexplicably recovered. In contrast, Chao Yuan, although the physical quality is very strong, but after all, there is an upper limit of endurance, has been insisting until now, he has also approached the limit. In other words, Lin 7 Knights is like a wonderful flower with a 1000% return speed, and Xiaoyun's blue strip is long, but the return speed is too slow, and there is still a moment of grinding. It's been a long time since we heard the sound of punishment. Are we the only ones left on this mountain? There was one 10 minutes ago and now it's just the 2 of us. You know all this? Lin Chia did not answer but glanced at the bat that had just flown through the air. In this late-night mountain, earthworms, horses, lizards, bats. All the nocturnal creatures are Lin Chia's eyes. About an hour ago, Lin Chia has completely mastered the situation of the mountain through them. Even with a few medic soldiers behind him and a few drones hovering overhead, he knows it all too well, and even if he wants to, he can hide deep in the mountains right now and never be found by anyone. Now the mountain has become the home field of Lin Kinites. I think I'm going to die. 2 people walked through for a while, Chao Yuan stumbling steps to stop, standing behind the forest 7 Knights. Lin 7 Knights frown a pick, no longer work hard? I can't pass out. Chao Yuan shook his head, once lost consciousness. The forbidden market may in turn control my body, but then more trouble. It seems that the forbidden market sequence is not a good thing. Lin Chia sighed. You go. I'll wait here, and if nothing happens, you'll hear me being punished in a few minutes. Chao Yuan sat down in place and smiled at Lin 7 Knights. Then I'll go. See you at training camp. Lin Chia turned, clenched the knife in his hand, and strode into the deep mountains of the night. Down the hill. Chow Yuan gave up in place and now only Lin's 7 knights. One of the instructors spoke. You can surprise us with anything. Hong instructor raised eyebrows and said with emotion. What? He's been walking in a straight line since over an hour ago. What? The instructors in the tent were stunned. How could this be? We keep changing the path of MTG Nam. How could he possibly go in a straight line? I don't know, but he did, and at this rate. In 3 hours at most he could literally cross the entire Jinan mountain. 3 hours? Does he have enough strength? As much as I'd like to say not enough, common sense never seems to apply to him. Instructor Hong was silent for a moment and slowly said, tear down all the tents here, leave one person to punish Chow Yuan, and the rest of you go to the other end of Jinan mountain with me. We'll wait for him there. Sergeant Hong, do you really think he can do this? I might not believe it if it was anyone else, but if it was him, that's a different story. 9 hours into MTG Nan. Lin Chia ran faster and faster in the mountains at night. He was like a phantom freely shuttling through the mountains as if he were at home. Suddenly, a voice came from the wait behind him. Chow Yuan, you're doing really well. I know. But it's a pity that you still have to take your punishment. I know. There are not many people who can hear us now except for a few instructors, and only your comrade who is still struggling in the mountains, so you can relax a little. You ask. What kind of girls do you like? I don't like girls. Argue. I like mature, busty, preferably intellectual women who have had a partner before. It is good that way. Did you just say something really big? When the instructor's face changes, your taste. Chow, let's change the question. What's your biggest regret in life? Chow Yuan at the other end fell into a brief silence. When I was a year old, I didn't drown myself in the river. Why? If I'd died then, there wouldn't have been anything else. Chow Yuan calmly said, I will not return to the village, will not pick up the scythe on the ground because of curiosity. He won't let his forbidden market go wild, killing all 172 innocent villagers in the village. Not to be locked up in the police station with a nail clipper to kill the entire police station up and down 161 lives. It's not your fault. This is my fault. I'm not running away from it. You just can't control the power inside you. It's not your intention. My body, I couldn't control it, and it's my fault. The instructor was silent for a moment. Now, is there anything else you would like to say to your mountain companion? Chow Yuan smiled, turned his head to look at Jinan Mountain under the dark night, and slowly opened his mouth. Lin Chia, don't disgrace us heretics. Chapter 103. Regret. Lin's 7 knights heard this sentence, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. He held the knife in his backhand and his body was like a ghost shuttling between the jungle. Now he had no reservation and his speed was increased to the extreme. Despite the suppression of the mysterious forbidden object, the effect on the star dancer is not good, and now he is like a player with a cheat machine with dark vision, double recovery, super stamina, double speed and full map. The positioning device in the hands of the instructors, Lin's 7 knights is quickly through the whole Jinan mountain straight toward the other side. At this time the 4 buses carrying other recruits had long left, leaving only one car loaded with many supplies and instructors, heading toward the exit of Jinan Mountain under the night. The power of the drone gradually exhausted, forced to return to the base. Originally after the many medical soldiers behind the Lin's 7 knights began to struggle, gradually buy him out of shape and finally completely lost track of. If it wasn't for the little red dot on the map that was still moving fast, the instructors thought that Lin's 7 knights had lost contact. 9 hours into Mount Jinan. 10 hours into Mount Jinam. The instructors' bus had already arrived at the other end of Mount Jinam, and they all got off the bus and watched the movement ahead with their night vision binoculars. How long does he have? It's very close. It's only been 2 hours. How the hell did he do that? The instructor holding the tablet could not help but open his mouth, even if Town Monument could not completely suppress his forbidden ruins. This speed is too outrageous. Did he turn into a ghost and just float out? Are all God's agents this perverted? How long did it take for the first extreme training session? Hanli instructor asked. The best time was 6 hours, but by then he was almost finished, and in the 5 extreme training sessions before that, he hadn't really crossed the entire terrain in one of them. Instructor Hong stared at the black mountain in front of him. Although the previous training site was not Jinam Mountain, there was hardly much difference between the two, and the terrain of Jinam Mountain was even more difficult. Not only him, in the history of the new boot camp, There are only a handful of people who can really clear the extreme training, and there is no one who can clear the first training. If this time Lin 7 Knights can really cross out of this inside, then he can also create the history of our training camp. He's almost out. The instructor's voice was heard again. All the instructors were quiet, raising their binoculars and looking carefully ahead. Suddenly, under the black mountain in front, a muddy boy slowly walked out. His military uniform was full of branches and mud marks, the cap on his head was lost somewhere, and the knife he clutched in his hand was ground with blood. In the moonlight, the handsome face became more and more clear, and he slowly walked to the front of the instructors and stopped. Am I done? Lin 7 Knights' horse opening. The instructors were stunned, and after a while Instructor Hong stepped forward and patted him on the shoulder. You're done. He said you made history. Lin 7 Knight body slightly wobble, cannot control the forward fall. Hong instructor eye disease, hold him. Lin Chier is really tired, even if there is the blessing of Starry Night Dancer. In such a high-intensity training he has already approached the limit and even completely broke the limit. He can insist here not only by the night, but also by his amazing perseverance and perseverance. Hong instructor helped him to sit down next to him. Han Li instructor handed over his kettle and gave him a thumbs up. Amazing. Lin Chia smiled, took the kettle big mouth into the mouth. For 10 hours, he had not had a drink except for some water from the stream, and his throat was already smoking dry. Slow down. Slow down. Sergeant Han Li smacked his lips. I just remembered something. What? You haven't paid me my compensation yet. Lin 7 Knights seriously said. Make up for it. Han Li instructor Alung, what compensation? Han Li instructors came this morning. The battle between the new recruits and Masquerade yesterday is not clear, but other instructors are like mirrors in their hearts. Listen to Lin 7 Knights so mentioned, some embarrassed to look away. Don't worry, you are indispensable. Tomorrow find time to go to my place. Hong instructor walked to his side, holding a ring in his hand, some helpless to open his mouth. Yes. Lin 7 Knights nod. As the creator of history, would you like to take your punishment? Lin 7 Knights 1 Ling, I succeeded, why should I punish? Hey play. Since no one else is listening, let's just ask a question. Lin 7 Knights hesitated for a moment, nodded. He took the ring and put it on his finger. Hong instructor tangled for a long time, just solemnly asked the only question. What's your biggest regret in life? Lin fell into a trance on 7 Knights. That's a question he doesn't even know the answer to. He seemed to regret many things. That night when he climbed the roof and saw the seraph, he had lost his eyes and lost the childhood so easy for ordinary people. Or fell off the roof of a house, was sent to a mental hospital, and was ever since considered a heretic. Or failed to give Auntie and Ajin a good life. His life seemed to be full of tragedy and regret. He did not know how long he was silent, turned to look at the dark night sky far away, and slowly and heavily said the answer that he subconsciously ignored. I couldn't save him. Hazy Bailey Fat opened his eyes. Why am I in a bucket? He looked blankly at being stripped clean himself, now lying in a bath bucket containing do not know what liquid, emitting a foul smell. Subconsciously he just wanted to get out. You'd better lie back quietly. One side of the same soaking in the bucket. Lin 7 Knights reminder. 7 Knights what's going on? I came home later than you and I don't know, but the instructors had a tub of medicine for each of us, which seemed to be designed to relieve exhaustion and strengthen the body. So my clothes are, I don't know. When I got back you were lying in there like a chicken. Bailey Fat scratched his head, only felt that the original acid to the arm seemed to return to normal, surprised to open. The medicated bath seems to be working well. The Night's Watch recipe. Sure is good. The dormitory door was opened. Chow Yuan stood at the door with a toothbrush, calmly said. Why aren't you in a medicated bath? 100 Fat doubt open. I'm already out. Chow Yuan rolled his eyes, pointed to the clear sky outside. It has been to the morning. The instructor said that today's morning exercise suspension will go directly to the canteen for dinner. The 100's fat eyes lit up as if they thought of something and quickly dimmed down. Chow Yuan turned to leave, leaving a word. I heard that the breakfast in the canteen today is steamed stuffed dough sticks and soy milk. Wow. White Fat Bailey Fat suddenly stood up from the barrel, his eyes staring round, without saying a word stepped out of the barrel, put on his shoes and rushed out of the dormitory. One side of the Lin 7 Knights turned his head, on the 100 Fat bed forgot to wear clothes into meditation. The next moment the girl's screams burst out of the window. Chapter 104. The Gift. Today there is no morning training, the time is not so urgent. Lin Kinite is not in a hurry and soak the medicine bath for a while and then change clothes, go to the canteen. Chow Yuan is right. Today's canteen is finally not disgusting white bread and raw meat, but delicious breakfast, soy milk, fried dough sticks, steamed buns, bread, white congee. The canteen at the moment was full of new recruits, who were really hungry after that nightmare of extreme training, and they were stuffing their mouths like starving ghosts. Lin Chia looked at Bailey Pang Pang, who had finished 2 steamed buns, and his mouth twitched slightly. 7 nights, this steamed bun is really sweet, and I don't know if that old man's son found his conscience. Want one? 100 fat mouth stuffed with food. Will hand the steamed stuffed bun to Lin 7 nights. Lin 7 nights also do not refuse, the steamed stuffed bun in his hand, carrying soy milk leisurely to eat up. By the way 7 nights. How'd you get out of here last night? Fainted or shot? Bailey Pang Pang seemed to think of something and asked. Because Lin 7 nights last night was too long. Other recruits had been sent back to the training camp. Lin 7 nights alone through the Jinan mountain, things naturally few people know. Walked out. Lin 7 nights light answer. Bailey Pang Pang One Lung for a time did not react to the meaning of Lin 7 nights, then shocked to open. Did you really go through the entire Jinan mountain? What kind of pervert are you? I can't believe you actually did it. Chow Yuan silently came forward from the next table, put the big meat package in the Lin 7 nights bowl, fortunately, did not give us a few heresy shame. Bailey Biggie scratching his head. Wait, you're calling us heretics, but who else? Lin 7 nights and Chow Yuan at the same time watching 100 fat. Bailey Pang Pang. I'm just an ordinary. Just shut up. Lin Chia ate and drank enough, put down the bowl in his hand and looked at the clock on the wall. You guys eat. I got something to do. Then he turned and walked out of the canteen. Bailey fat brow pick arch Chow Yuan. You say he is so mysterious today is to do? You never know. Chow Yuan expressionless mouth. Anyway, not to private lover. Like, with his personality, do you think it's possible? Right. Lin 7 nights after leaving the canteen, went straight to the instructor's office. Report. Come. Lin 7 nights into the office, Hong instructor looked at him, suddenly some headache. I mean boy, isn't that too positive? I sent you here last night and you're here so early? I just happened to have the time. Lin Chia shrugged his shoulders. Have a seat. Hong instructor stood up from behind the cabinet, took out an envelope. There is a small black box, passed to the front of Lin 7 nights. Yesterday Wang Mian already told us, although the conditions are a little too much, but we are not unacceptable. In the envelope on the left is a bank card with $500,000 in it. The PIN number is written on it. You can get it at any bank. In the box on the right, we've rewarded you with something forbidden. Instructor Hong sat back in his chair and said with emotion, You're true, my son. Not many people can pull wool from Chief Yuan. Lin 7 nights a terrified. These are Yuan instructor himself out? Yeah, it is. Instructor Hong leaned his head back in the chair, slowly opened his mouth. Let the masked team to fight with you is the leader's idea. Did not expect to lose so. The chief took it upon himself to come up with these terms for you, and we tried to help him out at all, but he was not willing. Lin Chia looked down at the envelope and box in front of him, silent for a moment and pushed the envelope back. Let's forget it. Instructor Hong, this is what you said before and now don't want it? No more. In fact, you don't have to do this. That is our chief officer is also the deputy of the Night's Watch team in Beijing, and also holds a position in the senior level of the Night's Watch. Do you think he may lack the 500,000 yuan? It's not a question of lack. Lin 7 nights calm opening. I do not accept money from soldiers. Hong instructor surprised to look at Lin 7 nights after a while before opening. You can think well this time don't want to, the next time will not supply you. Oh, balls. Instructor Hong nodded, put the envelope back and then reached out to get the box on the table. Snap. Lin Chia reached out and held down the box. This is mine. Lin 7 nights looking at the eyes of Hong instructors, solemnly open his mouth. You're not. Either. Instructor Hong grinned. I don't want the money but this thing is useful to me. Hey, I'm just kidding. Hong instructor let go of his hand and smiled. You do not know when the chief took this thing out how distressed the expression was. What's in there? Just open it and see. Lin Chia will open the box of the hand which is a blue diamond crystal, but the size of a nail clipper. The surface is emitting light spirit, A look at the most extraordinary products. Is Blue Heart. This is more than 20 years ago in the East China Sea, the forbidden object within a meter around it, always open the Forbidden Ruins sequence 278, Blue Guardian, can withstand most of the spiritual attacks. Of course, there is a limit to the amount of mental attacks it can withstand, and if the attacker is higher than your mental state it can only play a weakening role. Lin Chia's eyes lit up. Although he now has two gods near the body, but there is no bias towards the spirit of the ability to fight fair. If someone uses a spiritual attack on him, unless the direct use of Seraphim divine resistance, otherwise there is no way. Seraphim's divine power consumes more mental power and tends to attack, not good at defense. Blue Heart is directly to make up for his defect. Good stuff. Lin's 7 Knights nod. The chief took it out of his hand. It's a good thing. Hong instructor smiled. Go back to find a rope to string it up. Wear it on the body. Too far away we do not say, at least below the border it is absolutely enough. Lin Chia solemnly put away the Blue Heart, and thank Instructor Yuan for me. Hong instructor waved his hand. Say less of these, polite. Hurry back to it. Training to begin. Lin's 7 Knights simply bid farewell to the Hong instructor, and hurriedly left the office. Wait until he left. Yuan Gang's figure will ghostly appear in the office, looking at the envelope on the table, the corner of the mouth slightly raised. Sir, what do you think of him? Hong instructors do not surprise Yuan Gang's appearance. Very good. In fact, even if the king did not reach an agreement with him, I will find a way to give Blue Heart to him. After all, is the agent of the Seraphim, cannot die too early. Yuan Gang looked up to the direction of Lin's 7 Knights leave. What about now? Now I think he really deserves this great gift from me. Chapter 105 The Road. Training ground. Wood knife collision. Lin Chia single hand behind his back, right hand holding the knife, step by step forward, steady pace. On the opposite side of him, Bailey Pang Pang stepped back in a panic, swinging the wooden knife in his hand, only barely able to resist. With a flick of the wrist, Lin Chia easily picked the wooden knife of Bailey's fat hand, and then took a sharp step forward, the wooden knife hovering on the edge of Bailey's fat neck. You're too strong. I can't beat you. Bailey Pang Pang dropped the wooden knife in his hand, sat down breathlessly and opened his mouth with chagrin. I'm not strong, you're weak. Lin's 7 Knights tell the truth. Can't touch the knife. Chow Yuan silently sitting next to, holding the cheek to watch the battle of two people. Hear Lin's 7 Knights this sentence, nodded, deeply agreed. Bailey Pang Pang. By Li Tuming, your foundation is too poor. First go to the side like them to practice the foundation. Han Li instructor walked forward to the 100 Fat said. Bailey fat sad face, dejected to join the base team next to Lin Chia. Instructor Han Li's brow slightly wrinkled. Although your foundation is very solid, knife skills are also very skilled, but I always felt like something was missing. What's missing? Your sword has its form but not its soul. Han Li instructor sorted out the language. Your knife is too rigid, used to deal with some ordinary people can also, but if you meet a real master it will be very difficult. You know what? Let's practice. Han Li instructor from the shelf next to take down a wooden knife. Hands naturally droop. Some random standing in front of Lin's 7 Knights. Lin's 7 Knights nodded, seriously put a fighting posture. The hand of the wooden knife suddenly swung out. Da-da-da-da. Han Li instructor seemingly loose standing posture instantly drifting up. The hand of the wooden knife as if a ghost cut out. Easy block. Lin's 7 Knights offensive. After swinging open 3 knives, Han Li instructor's eyes narrowed. The wooden knife of the hand seemed to have a soul, floating out gently like a snake, hitting Lin Chia's wrist. Only listen to a light sound. Lin Chia's wooden knife will be out of hand, fell aside. Lin's 7 Knights was stunned. Different from the last knife drill, the last time Han Li instructors practiced with him, it was to teach the recruits a fixed knife, and in order to let everyone see, specially slowed down a little speed, not to mention the knife Lin's 7 Knights from Chiang Mai were learned, naturally can easily block down. But this sparring was totally different. Instructor Han Li even out 4 knives, there is no law to follow, and the wooden knife in his hand as if it had its own life, flexible and terrible. In contrast, Lin Chia's knife technique is particularly rigid. Can you feel it? Han Li instructor picked up the wooden knife for him and asked. Lin's 7 Knights frowned to think, but how should I practice to overcome this rigidity? Han Li instructor silence for a moment. In fact, although this problem is serious but not irreparable, but to spend a lot of time, many martial arts masters or so, as long as the hard practice of 20 or 30 years, can also reach a very high realm. Hearing the words of 20 or 30 years, Lin Chia's face was a little ugly. However, I think the fundamental reason is not here. Instructor Han Li continued. What is that? Has it ever occurred to you that you're not really cut out for a knife? Or rather, it's not the right knife. Han Li instructor looked into his eyes. Lin was stunned for 7 nights. To tell the truth, your talent in using the knife is not high. The group of people who are really talented, even if it is the first time to touch the knife, even if he wields again clumsily, there will be an ineffable charm. Unfortunately, I don't see it in you. Instructor Han Li then said, of course, I'm not saying you don't have this talent. There are so many people in the world who really have unique talents. As long as you practice, your knife will still have achievements, but if you want to touch a higher realm, it is very difficult. In fact, I have said this for so long to remind you that you may find a better path for yourself. More suitable for their own path. Lin 7 Nights mumbling. Instructor Han Li patted him on the shoulder. You think about it yourself, I go to see others first. After the instructor left, Lin 7 Nights holding a knife in his hand standing there alone, seems to be thinking about what? After the first day of purgatory, the following days were much better. Not only the food in the canteen found its conscience, but also there was no abnormal corporal punishment at every turn. Even so, the physical training of the instructors changes every day still makes the recruits miserable. The end of a day of training. Lin 7 Nights slowly climbed to bed. Close your eyes, thoughts are confused up. His mind constantly appeared Han Li instructors' 4 knives, as well as their own rigid blocking action. Maybe he is right that he is not fit to use knives, but if he spends more than 20 years to practice knives, he still has some unacceptable. If you give up the knife, then where the hell is his path? Between unexamined, Lin 7 Nights sleep passed. Dream. He once again recalled the fear of being dominated by Chinmai. Underground training ground. Chinmai carrying a double knife potential like the wind. Will Lin Chia pressure out of breath? He can only barely block several attacks, and then hard to resist the pain of wood knife hit on the body. But this time he didn't run away. He widened his eyes and carefully captured Chinmai's knife with his mental force, where it started and where it fell. Gradually, the underground training ground gradually disappeared. Chinmai's face became more and more blurred. Only the 2 wooden knives in his hand, one move and one style, deeply imprinted on his heart. Suddenly, Lin Chia suddenly opened his eyes. He sat up in bed, his eyes as bright as the moonlight outside the window. After a moment's hesitation, he dressed and quietly pushed the door open. Under the addition of the starry night dancer, Lin Chia, even if he walked on the road, still did not have the slightest sound. He was like a ghost in the middle of the night, quietly floating over the half of the training camp, came to the empty training ground. He walked to the performing arts stage, reached out and took down 2 wooden knives from the shelf, slowly closed his eyes, and Chinmai's knife power automatically appeared in his mind. He moved. In the night, in the moonlight. He holds 2 knives in his hand like a flying midnight butterfly, smart and hidden charm. He opened his eyes and they were as bright as stars. Oh. Peace office. Chinmai suddenly sneezed. Wu Xiangnan, who is watching TV on the sofa, tilted his head and caught a cold. Not like it. Not even a dozen sneezes? I think maybe someone missed me. Chinmai opened his mouth seriously. Wu Xiangnan rolled his eyes. Rubbish.